Okay, I'm going to talk about bone remodeling. These here are the few components of the process. You have osteoblasts, that are the builder cells in the top left. In the top middle, there's osteoclasts. Those are the cells that carry out the bone resorption itself. You have rank in the bottom left that are on the outside of osteoclasts. Those are receptors of rank ligand, which is represented at the top right. And in the bottom, it's monitored by OPG, and OPG regulates the process of bone remodeling in order to make sure everything stays in gear and the ratios in between osteoclasts and osteoblasts aren't off. When they are, it could lead to too much bone resorption, resulting in osteoporosis, which we'll get to at the back end of this slide. So the first part is the cells that line the bones spread out and osteoblasts form and start to release rank ligand to these pre-osteoclast precursors. Once they receive rank ligand, they turn into osteoclasts. So osteoclasts can carry out the bone resorption itself. This slide here represents what it looks like when osteoclasts carry out bone resorption and create a depression. So an osteoclast comes and resorbs some bone and creates the depression, which then behind them, osteoblasts come back behind and rebuild in the depression with new bone. And those guys can get surrounded by the bone matrix and turn into osteocytes, which are the mature version of osteoblasts, and create new bone. OPG, represented by those yellow V's, monitor this by mimicking rank and by binding to rank ligand in order to prevent too much rank ligand binding on the outside of osteoclasts so that the osteoclasts don't over-resorb the bone. Now, we're getting into the slides that have to do with osteoporosis and loss of bone density. In menopausal women, estrogen also acts as OPG. It's a similar thing. And what it does in the later years, women don't produce enough estrogen. So too much rank ligand binds to the osteoclast and osteoclast behavior increases. When that happens, too much resorption goes on and the depressions are too big, and the osteoblasts that come back behind them, represented at the bottom, go to fill the depressions, but they can't fill it enough. So in that area, you lose bone density and you have a depression that shouldn't be there. This is a slide that would represent bone loss, and too much of this over time can lead to osteoporosis and fractures. So in summation, the less estrogen and or OPG means more rank ligand. And then more rank ligand means more osteoclasts. And more osteoclasts leads to bone loss and osteoporosis. And that concludes bone resorption, bone remodeling, and osteoporosis.